And welcome back in, everybody, to MVP, the Vaughn podcast, powered by Perfect Game and the Vaughn Sports Academy. And Mo, very excited. Our guest here today, we got Red Sox royalty, a couple of Red Sox Hall of Famers linking up. The great Jonathan Papelbon, 07 champ, joining us here on the show. Very excited one here, Mo.
This is good. And I've always said, Pap, and I tell people all the time, closers, they're very, very important people. They're special guys. They come in that situation that is do or die. They answer the questions every night. Same, situations. I'm facing these guys. I don't think I faced Pap. I was already gone. But I understand and respect the closers' mentality and what they got to do to be successful. So this is going to be a great conversation today.
Yeah, man. The respect is mutual, man. I always respect my MVPs on my team, brother.
Thank you, man. Listen, we won one in 2004, and then you came over there and got one in 2007. I always feel that that's so important because, we had lost so many years, and I'm sick of hearing the 1918 from these Yankee fans. And anybody to me that's able to crown the Red Sox and put us in that status, I have tremendous admiration for you. I know how hard it is, and it's a tough place to play, but you coming out there in that role and shutting the game down. And then in the end, did you see him dancing in the end? He was doing some type of, I don't know what he was doing dancing, but he was doing something cool. He was out there, in the middle celebrating. But I'm always a very fond of guys. Anybody that brings a Red Sox team a championship, I got full support of.
Yeah, man, that all for me started in the minor leagues, Mo. When I got there, it was, okay, we just won, right? And I just got drafted the year before.
Right.
Won in 04. And, I say this a lot, man. The guys in 04 and everyone previous to that really kind of set the standard for what that 07 team went out and did. There were still guys from the 04 team that were on the 07 team, and that standard was set. And so that comes from the guys before you. And, I always respected that and went to my older guys, even when I was young, getting hazed helling back, because I think the guys that when you're young and you have success, I feel like they get hazed even more. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the respect of my elders. And, I knew that we wouldn't do anything if it wasn't for the guys before us.
How did you handle the pressure of pitching in a town like Boston when now it's like different expectations, right? Like you guys are a championship organization and you're this young fireball that's got to go finish these games. Like, was that a lot on you? Was it a slow roll to accept all that? Like, how was that whole process?
Nah, bro, it was right out the gate. My first spring training game, I was spot starting for Kurt Schilling, and I was in Double-A still at the time. And this is right after 04 and 05, and I'm getting the start because Schilling couldn't. And so our guys go out there first inning. I think it was like Trot Nixon, Kevin Millar, a bunch of dudes were just getting drilled. And I was like, and then they're getting back on the bench, throwing helmets, cussing at the pitcher, saying, we got one of those too, all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, oh, shit, man, I got to go hit somebody. Like, this ain't happening. I'm not walking back in that dugout. So I got like B.J. Surhoff, Palmeiro, and Sosa coming up. Well, I wasn't going to hit Palmeiro because he's a Mississippi State guy like me, so I picked Sosa. Next thing I know, he's charging the mound on me. We got a brawl going. And, Terry Francona pulled me in after the game was over and all that, and he was like, son, what's going on, man? What were you doing out there? And I just flat out told him, I said, I'm not going to walk back in the dugout with these guys who I respect so much without backing them up. And, lo and behold, he remembered that the next year and called me up. And I spot started like 4 games when Matt Clement got drilled in the head. And then after that, it was, in college, I was a closer. So that's how I learned how to pitch. And so when they wanted me to kind of start, I was like, nah, let me kind of speak with Theo and Tito and both of them were opened me with welcome arms and said, what do you feel like you're going to be best with? And I told him being a closer, and we didn't necessarily have a closer after Keith Falk went down, and I kind of just stepped right into that role.
Yo, Pap, that story that you just told about coming into a spring training situation, guys getting drilled, and you took it into your own hands to say, I gotta make a point right here for the guys that I played with. And I gotta put somebody on their back. First, that is just totally awesome. I mean, that's what guys like me who get on top of the plate and try to take the game to the pitcher, you were well respected. That's how you win the kudos in the locker room. People go out there and do what they got to do for you. But where did that come from? Like, where did you get that? And then now, what is the difference? Because, I was going to ask you one of the questions today. I was going to ask you, you were a throwback in your mindset and how you approached the game. I could just tell that the way that you pitched and what some of the things that you said and, some of your interviews. Where did that come from? Because how does that differ from what it is today?
Well, it comes from really, in my opinion, it comes from growing up, man. It comes like how you were raised and how you played the game and how you were raised within the game of baseball, right? And I was always raised that way in the game of baseball, that, you're a team and no one guy is bigger than the next. It doesn't matter what position you need 25 guys to win. And, it really I used to sit down with Kurt Schilling a lot when I was in the minor leagues, when I would go up to big league camp back and forth. And that was one of the things that he discussed with me, is that, it takes 25 guys and hearing that from a guy like Kurt Schilling, who could literally take over the game and say, nah, this is my game, nobody else matters. Hearing that from him, it really sunk in. But, even throughout my whole career, like if I was pitching, didn't matter if I was starting or closing a game, if my big boppers, if my MVPs, if my number one guys were out there getting drilled, there's no way you can allow that to happen, really. And that's what me and Bryce Harper got into it over, right? Like I had to come in and drill people because our starter wasn't. And, he kind of chirped off in the newspaper a little bit. And I was like, hey, let's keep this inside the clubhouse. But, long story short, it was because I was trying to protect my guys.
Right.
That was was that back to the Manny Machado thing during that season?
Yeah. And on another thing, Pap, you said a guy who, in my opinion, has people have judged because of his political views or whatever, and Lord knows everybody has their opinion. But is Kurt? I feel Kurt Schilling, to me, he's a Hall of Famer. Am I right or am I wrong? Tell me, what do you think?
I think that he deserves a better recognition. And yeah, like he rubbed a lot of people. He rubbed me the wrong way sometimes. But you learn to accept people, the good things about them and the bad things about them. And when you're on a team, I mean, when you're in a clubhouse mode, politics and all that other bullshit doesn't matter. Skin color doesn't fucking matter. None of that shit matters, man. And
we're listening to country music. We're listening to, reggaeton. We're listening to hip hop. We're listening to, it's and Pap just said it right. It's funny how this world works, but we seem to be able to get along on a team, and everybody gets their views and everybody gets their feel or what they need for the day to get ready, because we're all working for one thing and we go do it. And I just wonder what happens when we get outside. You know what I'm saying? So you're exactly right, Pap.
Yeah, and to me, look, I say this all the time. Camaraderie and team respect cannot win you a championship, but it sure can lose you one.
Right.
Like it's that simple, man. And so I've always walked into a clubhouse being thankful for being able to walk into that clubhouse and be a part of with the guys that I'm a part of. But if you don't have that camaraderie and you don't have guys that back each other up, you're simply never going to win.
Now we know why this guy, was the save leaders for two franchises, Phillies and Boston. This guy's the all-time save leader. And I'm so glad I'm talking to him, because I always wanted to get inside what drove him, because I just saw things, in the news and what happened. I'm like, this guy, I gotta find out what Pap's all about. So I'm glad we're talking today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all having me on, man. And I feel like even when I do games with Nesson, right? So I'm doing little pregame, postgame stuff with Nesson for the past couple of years, and to me, like, there's certain things in this game now that the game evolves, right? And so you don't see this as much anymore of the protection at the plate with guys, because now the rules state that, now we're going to throw out warnings and then guys get ejected, so they necessarily don't allow it really like they used to. But, in my opinion, still, when I look at teams, you have to have teams that have good camaraderie, have each other's back, and play well together.
Right.
Well, I'm curious of this, Matt, because you have such a unique perspective of, like, when your time in the game was, so you have like this interesting time where the game starts and you kind of are able to take it all in. What is it like from you taking in a game? When do you have to separate that to prep yourself for when you have to go in? Like, what was your process like, I guess, dealing with all that when you have to, because you always seemed like so juiced up and intense when the moment came and arose, but I can't imagine you can't run that hot for 9 innings.
No, that's definitely something that I had to learn going from a starter to a closer. But I had that mentality in college, you see? So that's where I learned how to pitch, really. And so that's where it came from. But for me, I'd let, all the guys that started and all the guys that were playing in the clubhouse, let them go see the trainers, let them do what they got to do to get ready for the game, stay out of the way. And then about the second inning would come along, and then, the clubhouse is empty. And as a closer, you're the only one that's left in there. So you start getting ready, and you let your bullpen guys get ready before you, because they go out in the first, either the top of the first or the bottom of the first, one of the two, either home or away. And that was my time where, man, the whole clubhouse, I would crank the music up and guys could hear it in the damn dugout, and they knew that Pap was getting ready, and I was stretching and doing my thing. And, a lot of times Big Papi would come in between innings and check on me, and that is where I would listen to him a lot, because he would be like, man, this damn pitcher, he threw me another fastball in, or he threw me another curveball, I'm going to take his ass deep, stuff like that. And, like, I would see how he would go about facing his pitchers. So I would really, listen to him. And I talked to hitters a lot, especially DHs, because we were always in the training room together. And so then it was, I had to get my coffee and, all my pregame meds, right, to get in that zone, So that's when I take them about 4th or 5th inning. And then after that, it was all hell's let loose. Let's go.
Well, how much coffee are we talking? Like, what's what is the concoction to caffeinate up?
Like 1 cup pregame, I'd be at about 6 to 7 cups by the time I left.
That's awesome. That's all. Pap, you got 2 All-Star selections, a 2.331 ERA, and 4 seasons with the Phillies. I think you should be on in the Phillies Hall of Fame. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I've thought about that a little bit. I just wasn't there long enough. I feel like,
I get it.
Yeah, and I think time has something to do with it. But, and records are meant to be broken. I don't know how quickly they will be broken, just because, the bullpens are ran differently and you don't have your quote-unquote closers that pitch the ninth now it's high leverage innings and it's managed differently. But, I am proud to be a part of 2 historic organizations in their record books. There's no question about that. I just think for me, I wasn't going to be one of these players that went out there 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Should I be playing? Should I not be playing? Or should I continue to play and go out there and really suck? It just wasn't my mantra. I wasn't going to – if I didn't have what I thought I could get big leaguers out with, I wasn't going. And so – when I retired, I felt like, I didn't have as much as I had. And could I have played a couple more years? I believe so, but it wouldn't have been at the high leverage, high ability that I played with in years past. So I don't think I would have been happy with that. And even with the Baseball Hall of Fame, I feel like if I'd have played three, maybe 4 more years, I would have had a better chance at it. But you gotta think about what life brings you and your happiness. And so for me, that was kind of it for me.
I get it, man. I walked away in 2003, had struggles in 2002, 2001. I was on a disabled list for an entire year. Before that, never had been on the disabled list. And I walked away from the game because I wasn't going to be Mo Vaughn anymore. And it killed me. I played, I have 13 years of service, but only 12 years of really actually playing. But I just wasn't going to take those lumps. Hitting 272 just wasn't, 278 just wasn't what I wanted to be remembered as. And I chose to go the other direction. So I get it fully on it. And man, it's like I told you, I'm so glad to be talking to you because your mindset is exactly what's needed. Do you get a chance to talk to other pitchers, and do you get a chance to talk about mindset and your approach to the game, or are they different? Are they thinking differently? Are they where are we at? Because it's a difference. How are you able to just get some time with some other guys, some young guys, and try to help them mentally?
That's a really, really good question, Mo. And I guess the way I'm gonna answer that is there's certain guys that are very approachable and you can talk to.
Right.
Now, I still do stuff with Jim Rice on Nesson, right?
Great man.
And Jim talks to me about when I was in the clubhouse, and he'd be walking through. And he'd be like, Pat, you was only one of the guys that I could really talk to that would, talk to me. And I'm like, I kind of feel the same way, Jim. There's only like 1 or 2 guys that will kind of talk to you and seek out advice, right? I mean, me and Jim joke about I used to seek out advice for everything from him, from hitting to the damn suits he was wearing. I'm like, Jim, man, where you get them suits at? I need to be looking good like you. You play good, right. You look good, you win good. I don't know, and it's just a dying breed. I think of guys going up to elder statesmen that have played the game and say, "Hey, man, look, hey, Pap, shit, how do you throw your split finger, man? Your split was nasty. How do you do?" I have never had anybody do that. No. But you would think that, players would, because I definitely did. I went up to Kurt Schilling in the clubhouse and said, "Hey, Schill, you mind teaching me your split finger?" And if he'd have never taught me that split finger, hell, I don't know where I would have gone,
That's the type of stuff, for our listeners, we all got to evolve as players. As we get older, we learn things and we do things. You got to use the people around you. And the fact that Pap is saying, at some point in time, I walked up to Kurt Schilling and asked him how he, how to throw that split finger, and for him to implement it. Those are the things sometimes I think are missing in the game, in our game, with the people that have played in those different types of things. But that's a great story right there. I mean, I didn't know that. I thought you just developed it on your own.
No,
the fact that you went to a guy, man, is great.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is that's how we learned and how we passed it on, and traditions and pitches and everything else passed on down. But now everything's a track man, and everything is an analytic, and everything is analyzed by a computer. Where I remember when I got to the big leagues, we used to get the old video cameras out and try to make our fastball, me and Kurt would do this, spin 4 times or rotate 4 times before it got to the plate. And we'd go back and look at it, put it in slow motion and see how the ball was rotating. But, now that's all computer analyzed. And their brains are taught to turn around, look at the analytics, and throw the next pitch. Turn around, look at that. Guys are pitching with index cards. I don't know. They're pulling them out of their back pockets and looking at them before every pitch. That blows my mind.
They're playing defense with them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
there's no more self-thinking in the game anymore is the best way I can explain it.
Well, do you miss the idea? Because I'm sure, obviously it sounds like you miss how the game was played, but do you find it unfortunate that just having the pure closer, the setup guy, the roles changing? Look, sports are going to change, but do you feel like there's something missing just because there's so much intensity on when the game is on the line?
Man, I even tell these kids nowadays, y'all missed out. And they're like, what? They're like, y'all missed out. Look, I know what it was like before you could go out to the club, every 25 deep, no camera phones, no social media, none of that.
Where is this guy? Where are you right now? I'm coming to see you.
But, it's and now it's you can't do none of that. You can't, and I believe that builds a lot of team camaraderie, but it's just that the fact that these kids nowadays are so computer driven, it's sad to see. And when I try to talk to kids, I'm like, have a feel for your own self, right? Like Pedro Martinez, I remember him telling me he would look at guys on deck and how they were swinging the bat. It's
Absolutely.
Have some couth for the game,
Absolutely. I'm gonna hit you with a hard question right now. But I'm also so jealous and envious of that you had this experience. But I'm going to hit you with this question. You had the opportunity to be managed by Terry Francona, the great Charlie Manuel, Ryan Sandberg, God rest his soul, Matt Williams, the great third baseman. And then Matt Williams, played with Bonds and Kent and those guys. And then you had an opportunity to get managed by Dusty Baker. That's the holy grail, bro. Charlie Manuel with with his mannerisms and style and his ability to talk hitting, and Terry Francona, all these guys have, these names: Sandberg, Manuel, Francona, Williams, Baker. Who's the best guy?
All Hall of Famers.
All of them.
All of them.
Players who played. Who is, I shouldn't even be asking you, but who do you think is the best guy of this group? And if you said it, Mo, I don't know. Give me one or two. Give me two if you can.
Okay, I'll give you this because, man, that is a tough-ass question, man.
It is.
I will say this, as far as growing up and being more of a father to me, that was Terry Francona. I was young and dumb, real, I'm 23 years old. What am I doing here? And he really taught me a lot. He probably taught me the most.
Right.
But as far as being the best manager, I got to go with Dusty, man. Dusty was – me and him kicked it off right, man. We talked about a lot. We he'd been through a lot. I've been through a lot. We just clicked on the same level, and he was a great, great, great communicator, man.
Right.
Everybody on that team he communicated with, and I always admired his ability to communicate with everybody on a different level, man. And I had to go with Dusty for that as the best manager. But, you get the Sandberg and William, all great players, managers, man. It's hard. But Dusty was another echelon.
When I saw this, I looked at it, I go, man, this is unbelievable.
That's a list.
To be able to, pass through the locker room over your career with these guys, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Mo, and I heard this a lot. And I never felt it like, I'm playing for this manager, man. He's brutal. He sucks. He doesn't know his thing. Like, how many times you hear guys playing for bad managers? And I never, ever had that.
That's unbelievable.
That's like,
that's awesome, bro.
Well, let's go back to the fun though, because I'm sure you don't want to give deets, but like, what can you, in whatever form you want to describe, what is it like being a champion in Boston? Like, I gotta imagine there's not a beer paid for an entire when that all occurs. Like, what level of fun is there when you become a Boston Red Sox champion?
Man, it was a whole nother level for us. After we won, I think we stayed up for 3 or 4 days straight, man. And, then it was, recognizing the moment for me and what we did and how we were able to continue what the 04 team did and keep this tradition going. And, lo and behold, even guys after that, they kept the tradition of winning going. And it's a whole nother level because it's Boston and it's, the people there, whatever sport is in, they revere their players so much more than I feel like in other cities. And, Mo will tell you, you can go and sit down in a bar, and if somebody recognizes you, they probably buying you a drink. And that's just how it goes. And it's still to this day. I'll go do Red Sox games with Nesson and go to the bar afterwards, have a drink and eat, and somebody's usually buying me a drink. Yeah, and it never goes away. So to me, that's something really special.
Awesome.
And the thing that I love, and I think has been fun, and I'm sure, Mo, you would like this too, but the trolling of Yankees fans that you're doing on social media it's just relentless. And I just I think to Big Poppy during the playoffs where him and Vlad are just giving Jeter and A-Rod the business. You seem to be having incredible fun just needling them nonstop.
Yeah, me and Poppy got a little something similar when it comes to them Yankees fans, I think. But it's just I love them, man. I really do. I love the back and forth with the Yankees fans just because it's been happening. I mean, my first time in the bullpen, they were throwing this is when they didn't have a camera for. They're taking the batteries out of their phones and chunking them at me, and I just loved it, man. It's what sports was all about. Now, some people were like, "Man, Pap, you're crazy, man. Why are you talking to the fan?" I'm like, "Man, they just having fun. Let them be,
Yeah,
And that's how I took it.
And that's the mindset. He was one of the guys. I always wonder sometimes what management thinks when you have guys that can step up in those situations. Playing in New York, playing in Philadelphia, playing in Boston. What is there? One more? Maybe there's. I guess the Mets. The Mets also. It's a mindset that you're bringing to your squad, not necessarily the talent. It's the heart within. And when you have guys like that, I don't understand why management doesn't keep them around because it's hard to find a guy that's going to stand in the bullpen and laugh and throw the batteries back or whatever he's going to do, and then get out there on the mound and save the game and go the hell with you guys. Those are the mindsets that are needed to play up north. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about.
You've seen those players. You played with them, and management knows, hey, this guy can play here and this guy can't. Like it's pretty simple.
Right. Exactly.
Do you remember a besides the batteries on words? Anybody have a funniest interaction of all time with a fan trying to get under your skin?
Oh yeah, man. They used to Google. Google. Hey, man, your wife was out with me last night, and I'd be like, damn, man, she flew all the way from Mississippi to come up here to stay with your ass. I would say stuff like that, or they say stuff about your family, whatever they would say, man. I would always just play along with it and have fun with it. And there were some fans who were like, damn, Pap, I didn't know you could take that. And I was like, yeah, you ain't got nothing, bring me some more.
Is there a difference in the Nats? Because people say Philly's got the nasty fan base. Is that? Is that a lot more hardcore there, or even do they turn on you quicker?
Yeah, they just turn on you quicker in Philly. That's it. Same type of fan. I think that their patience boils over just a little bit quicker. But I remember in Philly, hell, Joe West kicked me out for this, but I don't think he should have. But I saved 28 games in a row, not a one blown. And I blew my 29th save, and they booed me off the field. And I got pissed. I grabbed my nuts to the fans and all that. Joe West kicks me out. But I just remember then being like, damn, they don't mess around here in Philly. And then 2 weeks later, this guy runs on the field and tries to jump in the bullpen after me. So I got to put him in the headlock and dump him back onto the field over the fence. And they're just ruthless, man.
That's awesome,
man. So what was this thing that you were doing? Was this wasn't Savannah Bananas, but you did something in Mississippi this recently? What was this game that you re-enter? Was Palmero there? Can you explain what that was?
Me and Rocky are really good friends too.
With all the guys that have ever played in the big leagues at Mississippi State, every so often they do this alumni game, and Will Clark's a captain of one team. He picks a team. Rafi picks a team, and we go and we play. And, I ended up getting the win. I only had to pitch one out, but I was at a Halloween party 2 weeks before, and I was on this mechanical bull, and I dislocated 2 ribs. So I had to go in there and still pitch. I could barely throw the damn ball. But a guy I played with, Tyler Moore, on the Nationals, I ended up getting him out to win the game. And so it was pretty fun, man. They do a great job. There's 10,000 people at this game.
It looked crazy. See how many fans are turning out for that. But I guess that's that SEC life.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Is it so? What are the ties with Palmero when you get to see him there?
Man, it's great. For everybody at Mississippi State, man, it's all family, dude. Everybody loves each other. We all having a good time, drinking, socializing, having fun with the fans. And then all of a sudden we have this game, and it's some guys are still in the big leagues, playing this game. Jake Mangum went out and had 3 triples this game or something like that. But, it's a real deal game.
That's awesome, man.
Were you guys all making fun of the Lane Kiffin situation and how that was all unfolding?
Yeah, that's unfolding pretty drastically and quickly, to where I got a lot of buddies at Ole Miss too, man. And look, I tell them, you do the same damn thing. You can't hate on that, man.
Exactly. It's
just it's one of those things. I don't understand why the football coach has to, because they always say it's like recruiting. But I don't understand why the coach has to leave before the end of the season. You know you're gonna want him.
Because what they're saying is that he has all insider knowledge to take all his players to the other squad, but they're already going to go anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't understand why LSU. If I'm Lane Kiffin, I'd be like, "Hey, LSU, you're going to want me in 4 weeks."
Exactly.
I don't understand why it can't. Because they put it under the guy, and I know it's they hate Ole Miss and they want to screw a rival school too, but it's man, I feel like it could be a lot less ugly. And he's I know he's on a black belt in this because Lane Kiffin has ugly exits. That's what he does.
Right.
But it's also the gamesmanship of the SEC.
Yeah.
Great, man. Jonathan Papelbon, this was a pleasure, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Pap.
Yeah, all right, guys. I enjoyed it, man. Wilma, I'll see y'all around, brothers.